Okay, we're live on the air. This is Flux of FluxWithIt.com and SonicExpansion.com. This is the Producers Hangout, episode 38. And we've got some great guests alongside us today. Again, co-hosted with Mike of PadBangers.com. Uh, Mike, how you been doing over there?
I'm pretty good. Looking forward to the show.
So Mike's got himself a nice new lighting setup, and we can actually see him really well now. So that's nice. Uh, And alongside us as well, we've got Corey of BeatPeople.com and BBoyTechReport.com. He's out there in LA. How are things going out there, Corey?
Good man. Everything is sunny, beautiful in LA.
Always, always. And yeah, and I'm out here in Delaware on the East Coast, and we've got Axel Hartman with us today of Design Box. And Axel, you're in Germany as well, along with Mike. And
That's true. Yes.
it's getting a bit late out there, so I want to thank you for coming on. So into the evening hours out there.
Well, that's fine.
I know.
Like,
I
yeah,
know. Normally you would be out clubbing tonight, but
that's exactly. Well, I'm not club Saturday. Sunday is the clubbing time here in Germany, so we can use
So,
up the Monday then to relax.
for those not aware, Axel is responsible. His company rather is responsible for doing the user interfaces for quite a lot of synthesizer and musical instrument products, as well as your company does a lot of other products as well. But we're primarily focused on the audio stuff today. So can you? We'll dive right into just kind of talking about how you got started in design to begin with at all.
Yeah. Well, I was always sharing music and art. That was always my favorite thing to do at school, and I started to combine both of that when I started to set everything up for my professional career. So I was studying industrial design, and I ended up with a project. It was a workstation that I designed, and that workstation was being released as in German Keyboards magazine as their key thing in the year of '89. It's already a while. And that was the starting point for me to pick up in the industries. So I started to work as an in-house designer at Waldorf, and the first design that I did was the microwave synthesizer for Waldorf Electronics back then. And well, from there I did design all their instruments up to today. So it's everything that you know from Waldorf is my design, the
Well,
software and hardware. And in '95, I left Waldorf to found my own company together with a friend, ex-colleague at university, and we started Design Box in the year of '95 in pretty Ravensburg. It's a really nice, picturesque town in the south of Germany where I live, and we started to work on ourselves. I started to get back in touch with a good friend of mine in the U.S., Russ Jones. He was responsible to, how do you say, well, he had a company who was selling Steinberg into the U.S., and before that PPG, and he helped me a lot to get in touch with all the cool companies in the U.S. And well, from there, mm, everything ran pretty well. You know, the first synthesizer that I designed for an American company was the Andromeda for Alesis.
Hmm.
That was
That
late
one
in
was
the
kind of
90s.
a lot of love-hate relationship on that design. You know, it's one of those things where it kind of broke from tradition as far as the layout, and some people could wrap their mind around it. Some people, their OCD got the best of them, and they freaked out over it. I actually
Yeah.
kind of like the way that it kind of had like a main knob, and then you had like pieces around it, and you know
Mhm.
where did that whole design aesthetic come from when you were working on that? What made you decide to go in such a different direction with that?
Yeah, that was something that I wanted to sell that to Waldorf back then. It was an idea totally away from the straight makeup of the synthesizers that we knew by then. I wanted to do something that's more iconic, where each module had a face of its own, which is something that you can recognize much faster and in a better way when you're working on an instrument. It's always helpful if you have certain spots that you recognize very well with a blink of an eye, and that was a very helpful way to do that, because each of the modules, they look like their family, but they have their own how to say language, and that was the idea behind it. And like always, so when I do a design, this was only one idea that I offered to other users back then. So there were 3 or 4 basic designs that I showed to them, and they were falling in love with that scheme right away. And yeah, this is how it came up, and then we worked on that up to the final product. And sometimes I have to smile, because if you look at the new modal synthesizers,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they kind
sure.
of copy this kind of scheme, and that makes me think maybe it was not the worst thing to do. Even if it was a bit outside of what the community knew by then of how a serious synthesizer should look. I think it did catch. Well, some people's aesthetical, I would say, mind, and then some people liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different way of setting up modules, and it's also a fun way, more a fun way. It's not so technical.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely more about like inspiring as opposed to just being very clinical.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the more recent synthesizer designs that you've done, what have been the most recent hardware synths that you've done?
Oh, let me recap. Well, you know the Waldorf synths, the Arturia, all their products like the MiniBrute, the MicroBrute, the MatrixBrute, which came out just lately. Those were my work. The Schmidt, the big one, big fat synthesizer, and there's some more in the baking right now, where I cannot tell you so much about. I'm working on a synthesizer called the 20, because we had our 20th anniversary last year with Designbox. So we're doing a special edition of the Sledge synthesizer
Oh yeah.
from Studio Logic. So we're taking the inside of that synthesizer and give it a bit more better haptic elements, and then there's an SPL operation amp coming to it. So we give it a very exclusive housing milled out of massive aluminium. So this is something where I've been working on a lot the past few months. I must say, not only weeks but months. It's a heavy work, because it's like we design everything new, from the outside aesthetics to the graphicals, to the silkscreen and the manual, and we will come up with a website. We organize everything so that it's being built. So it's a lot of work that we do there. Yeah. So these are probably the latest. Well, I did work on some interfaces for Tascam. You may know those audio interfaces that we've been working on. It's so many things. I would have.
Let me ask you about this. So I'm gonna pull this picture up, and
yeah, that's exactly the one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Sledge one that you were talking about.
Exactly. There's actually it's a Sledge or a Blofeld or a Waldorf engine in there, a 3 oscillator, virtual analog structure synthesizer, and well, we gave it a very exclusive full aluminum design.
Very nice. Yeah, because it looks a lot more upscale, and it looks like it can sit up and also fold down, and uh,
Exactly. Yeah, that's possible. There's a damper. You push a button on the back side, and the panel folds up, and you can bring it back down again.
oh really?
And it sounds amazing. So we added this SPL technology behind it. It doesn't make any noise. It's 20 dBs louder. It's really nice. I'm right now working on the sound set, but we will only sell.
So there
Uh,
is like a slight tweaking of the actual sound engine as well.
no, the sound engine is exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
So because otherwise it's not possible. It's too much of a journey. I've been there, done that.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
sure.
exactly the sound engine. We add some nice things. We changed the front panels, so all the plastic is out there. Not only what you touch, but also the stems of the pots. They're all massive metal, so it feels really, really good.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
So sound-wise, is it like, um, or function-wise, is it the same set of features you have in the Sledge, or do you
Exactly.
add more modulation like the Blofeld has?
No, no, exactly. It's exactly the Sledge.
Okay, so it's just like a redesign of the Sledge.
Exactly. It's a redesign of the Sledge with a very personal sound set in there, and with the addition of the SPL high-end technology, which makes a big difference, I can tell you. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. So is there a any kind of release date on that or no?
Well, we have just finished on the prototype. So on Friday, the prototype was sounding the first time. So we had everything in there, and I'm having it. It sits on the left side in my office, and I can turn to the left and work on the sound. So it's set up, and not this week. The week after that, we're going down to Italy because the product will be built by hand by the people at Qatar, and so we're gonna share how it's being set up, and so I think we will release a link where people, if they want to order it, where they can get in touch with us in 3, maybe 4 weeks.
And how many
Oh,
did you
nice.
say you were going to be producing?
We want to build 20 black units and 20 silver units, so
That's all?
40 of synthesizers. Yeah, that's it.
Whoa.
Wow.
There's going to be some clamoring for that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's so expensive to build, you wouldn't believe it. It's the housing alone is some thousand euros because
Whoa.
it's milled out of a massive block of aluminium, not only the top panel, but also everything that you see. So it's really solid. The keypad is specially designed by Qatar for us. It's a high-end TP8 keypad, all black. It feels fantastic.
So yeah, we're really talking about a truly boutique synth
Oh
for the
yeah.
ages that is going to be something of legend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Not many people will be able to possess one. I know that.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
But that
sure.
was the plan. It should be like an anniversary thing for us. We wanted to build 20. That's why the name is 20, and because it's 20 years of Designbox, my company. So we wanted to be that should be the story around it.
It's a celebration.
And yeah. So and then I there's a lot of interest in this synthesizer. So we decided that maybe we do 20 plus 20, 20 silver, 20 black, so that we can um, have more synthesizers out, fulfill the
Yeah,
demand.
that's an interesting no compromise kind of approach to doing something like that, and having it be such a limited run, kind of ensures that it'll be in people's minds, and so is there how are people going to go about actually buying it? Is it select group that are only going to be the ones who can buy it, or is it going
Well,
to be up for?
well, we will be releasing a link or a website with a link, and people can get in touch with us directly. And if somebody seriously wants to buy a unit, we will do the business with them directly
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
person to person. So will not be distributed by any company or so. It will just be a direct thing.
Very interesting. Yeah,
Very
that's something
cool.
else. Now you also had done the design for the Moog series, the Phatty series, correct?
Right.
How
Yes.
did that all come about?
Well, it's been in the year of 2002, I think, when I did my first cooperation with Bob Moog on the Voyager. It was after many years of waiting for Bob to come back into this business with his own name and with an instrument like that. And we had our booth at NAMM side by side. It was the time when I was also distributing the Neuron synthesizer, which was well, my company. And I saw Bob sitting on his knees and working with a little knife on the Voyager, cutting out stuff because the wheels did not work somehow, and we started to talk, and he said, "Oh, this is interesting stuff that you're doing," and I said, "Well, Mr. Moog, it's interesting stuff that you're doing because this is one of the reasons why I'm here, because I was always fascinated by his instruments." And we made that deal. I helped him to design the user interface and the instrument in a proper way. In return, I wanted one of the synthesizers, and
Fair
this is the
enough.
way. Yeah, this is the way that I came to be a designer with Moog. It was at that time when Mike Adams, he was actually running the company for Bob, and he came back to me in, I think it was 2004 or early 2005 at the Musikmesse when we sat together, and he was telling me the story about the little Phatty. He wanted a small Moog synthesizer, easy to produce, something that the people could afford, half the price, like the Voyager or less. And so that was my first real design for Moog, with a back panel, the curved shape and everything, and it was unfortunately at the same time the last synthesizer that Bob designed, because he went sick in 2005, seriously sick. He had a brain tumor, and it was a very sad story, and he couldn't even finish the instrument. So we finished the instrument together with his the guy who came in then to help out was Cyril Lance. And we've been working further on the little Phatty. Yeah, there's a picture of the synthesizer, the tribute edition with the wooden end caps.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the first, I would say, bottom-up design that I did for Moog, where everything came from or from my feathers.
I
So
really like
it's
the backlit buttons on them as well.
exactly, yeah. We wanted to use different buttons in the beginning. We wanted to use Marquardt buttons, but they were too expensive. So we ended up to use silicone mats that cover all the buttons that are in the synthesizer, and give it like the approach that we had there was not one knob for one function. It was more like with the matrix synthesizers from Oberheim, where you pre-select a certain function, and then you have one knob to work on.
Yeah.
So it's still a pretty quick way to work on a synthesizer. Well, that was the sub Phatty. Then Moog decided to use this design to come up with more synthesizers in a line, which was never the startup idea. We thought we make just one, the little Phatty, and anything else will be a different piece of cake. But then we found that the construction and the setup of the casing was pretty clever.
Mm-hmm.
So, they wanted to carry on basic shape and makeup. So there's more products now in that line, like the Sub Phatty or the Sub 37,
Sure.
which was.
And they
So
seem
when
to be
you
pretty
when
good
you
hits too.
Hmm?
I said they seem to be pretty big hits for Moog as well. That
Oh
design.
yes. Oh yes. Yeah, the Sub 37 is selling very well. I think the little Phatty was their most successful product by now, but maybe the Sub 37 already overtook it. This synthesizer, it's a really nice instrument, by the way, you know, and sounds great. And
Now, when you're
it's
doing this
very,
sort of design, what are some of the things that come first? Are you talking to them about, you know, what you want to have on the user interface first before the circuit is finished, or like how is that
yes.
going?
Yes, well, you know, Moog, they know exactly what to do. They actually don't need my help in telling them how to design a synthesizer. It's more like a very nice cooperation that we have here. They come up with the circuits and with the ideas and what they want to have on the front panel. They throw it in, and I look at it, and I do a first layout, and maybe I ask them if we can have this or that function additionally, or if I can put something here or there. So it's more like a very nice and friendly cooperation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of runs. You know, when you do the design on a synthesizer, it's I don't know how many revisions we go, sometimes maybe 40, 50 revisions before you have the final result on how things come together. And that's always, in the end, it's a matter of the people that work together on that. It's not only my work, you know. We have to make it work later on then, but Moog have also very good mechanical engineers in the meantime. You know, when I started to work for Moog, they didn't have a mechanical engineer. We did everything from Germany. Now they have Eric Church, who is a really nice guy, very clever guy, and he's a mechanical engineer. So we work hand in hand on their products, and it makes the process so much better. And if the process is good, the instrument is good, and that's always good thing for the end user as well. You get a professional instrument.
Absolutely. The when I look at like the Waldorf designs versus like the Moog designs, they're very different as far
Yes.
as aesthetics. Um, how do you go about defining and deciding like what sort of aesthetic you're going to attribute to a specific company or line of
Mhm.
products?
Yeah. Well, like you can imagine, I can see sitting some Arturia products around you. You know,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
look
yeah.
at them, it's the
I'm
same story. It's very important for a company to have a brand face. You know, at Moog they have Emmy Parker working, and she's brand manager. So she's taking care of that. Not every company has that, but she's like taking care of the issue that each Moog instrument should wear the Moog character, and this is something that every company wants and needs, so that their product is recognizable. If you go into a store and you look around, you want to recognize, oh, this is an Arturia product, this is a Moog product, this is a Waldorf product. So what I try to do for those companies that I'm working for, I try to create a product language. It's a corporate design that we do. It's not only working on a nice product, a nice design, but also to take care of the character of a design, to use a certain color scheme, to use a certain kind of user elements that you can re-recognize in other instruments from the same brand. That's very important, and that's something that you can recognize. It's a good thing. If you see Waldorf, they look totally different, and from Moog, and you can still see a certain line and a certain. That's what people tell me. They always can see if I worked on something. That makes me very proud because I always
Your
try
fingerprint
to.
is there. Yeah.
Yes, I try to give each company their look, and then try to help the musician and the company to come up with an instrument that's easy to operate, where you don't have to read the manual, that makes sense for the musician. That's something that I try to bring in as well, which I can do. That's a good thing when you're a musician and a designer. Uh, you know how things have to look and feel, that they make sense when you play music or when you want to produce music.
Well, I see that you've got a guitar, next to you as it
Yeah,
is.
that's my son's guitar. We just changed the strings today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And you've been a long time musician as well. I mean, and the synthesizer that I hear a lot of people still to this day, kind of asking about and kind of has a, a bit of mystery around it is the Neuron. Can you tell us a little bit about the story behind the Neuron and where that thing lies today as far as I know the software is out there for people.
yeah,
Um, can
yeah.
you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, the Neuron started in, I think it was 2000, and I always wanted to do something where I had control on how the synthesizer engine should be like and how the synthesizer should look like without anybody interfering. So that was the idea. I wanted to do something on my own. And I am just a designer, I don't write software. I just have a vision of something. And back in those days, well, I need to find somebody who can follow that vision. So I had to partner up with a guy, Stefan Bernsi. His name was Stefan Sprenger back then, and he was the founder of the company ProSonic. And I didn't know him a lot. I think I worked on some of their package design or something back then, and but people were telling me this guy, he's like really crazy, and he is crazy. He's working on the neural network systems. He's like a genius in recognizing certain patterns, not only in auditive but also in visual things, and writing programs who can recognize the patterns and create some kind of software around it. So, and I had the idea of a synthesizer where you, well, it actually it was like a resynthesizer where you have an instrument that, like a piano or an organ or a violin, and the software should be able to recognize this instrument and should be able to recognize certain parameters that you can then touch and change. So just for an example, so that you understand, you could play a piano sample into the neuron, and the neuron had an off-board analyzer, and this analyzer it was called the model maker. He made a model out of the sound, like a rendering, if you compare it to arts or to it would do a photorealistic rendering of the sound. And then the software, you tell the software what parts of the sound you want to touch. So if you have a piano, what could be interesting to touch? The material of the strings, the casing, it could be of wood or made of metal, the size of the casing. So these are all points that you could change then with the neural network parameters or setups that were inside the software. And this is something that Stefan could deliver.
Huh.
So yeah, that was the basic idea of the Neuron, and yeah.
The production run was fairly limited though, right?
Yeah, we had I think some more than 500 units that were sold. Fortunately, I had a good friend of mine, Hans Zimmer, the Hollywood producer. He was taking part in the company, and he was helping us to really make it up to that point at all, because it's we did totally underrate how difficult and how expensive it is to do something like that. We were like fortune people that were just. I didn't know you need so much money and so much time and so much. And Hans, he came in I don't know, 2002 or so, and he was part of the company, and he helped us to release the instrument.
What was the idea behind? You had like one wooden side, and then you had a flat panel side with the jacks all on the side.
I wanted a very clean backside. If you look at the instrument from the back, you can see that there's only the logo in the center that close, and I could always imagine a band playing the synthesizer and you watch from afar and you see only the metal bar and the logo. That was something that I really liked, and not the cables coming down on the back side. So we had the outboard on the left side, so you didn't have to walk around the instrument, and I wanted the wood on the other side because wood always adds something. It adds some warmth to electronic gear, something natural. That's something I wanted. It was a design thing for the balance.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting design and very ambitious.
Very ambitious.
Yeah. There we go. So these days, you're doing a lot of different design. I'm getting feedback from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what changed. Did somebody change something? I don't know.
Is it me?
I don't know. Let me just try something here. Okay, so yeah, the question I was having though is when you're designing products, what is your primary concern? Are you more concerned about just how the user is going to be interacting with it, or are you concerned about like
into
a very design, like is it just like a steady balance between those two? What tends to take priority first?
Oh, guys, hold on. The echo is really loud. Somebody, I think Axel can a little.
Oh, sure. Is it better?
Check 1 2. Yeah, it's still a little bit, but it's better.
Mm-hmm. I lowered it quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if you.
I can still go a little bit further down. If that's better.
I always prefer to blame the guests.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it sounds better now.
Okay. Well, your question. For me, it's always a balance to make my client happy, you know. And my client, he wants a product that is easy to produce. And many of the clients I'm working for, they're having their product produced in Asia, so you have to take care that that works without big problems, without a lot of failure. So the first thing that we have to take care of is that we do a job in working on a design that is easy to industrialize, that is a no-problem design for our client. And that is appealing to my clients, so to the musicians. They need to fall in love with the instrument. So that's always the balance that I'm working in. It's always a matter of cost, you know. It's very important, especially if you look at the Arturia products, how cheap they are, and they're still well done. If you lift a MatrixBrute or a MiniBrute, they feel right, and they're still so dirt cheap. So how can that be? So it's a lot of efforts that you have to work on industrializing a process of how an instrument is being built. So that's a big part of our work today, to make something happen that's almost impossible. Also, if you look at the products that Waldorf is selling, they're producing all their products in Germany, which is almost unbelievable because they're also dirt cheap. But it's possible, you know. You can design a product that is not very expensive to build, that still looks good, and that's appealing to the client. So that's our job, our day-to-day job that we're working on.
Do you have a personal favorite set of products that you've designed? Is there anything that you're especially proud of?
Oh, that's always difficult to say, because each of the products, they have a different attitude. It's almost like you were asking me if I had 10 children, which one do you love most? I cannot tell you. They're all born in a certain way, and they're all having certain
Personality,
special
so to speak.
things that we had to take care of. So it's really hard to say. If I had to pick some, I think the little Phatty would be one product where I think that that's kind of the perfect product because it's iconic, it's easy to build, it's appealing, it talks the Moog language, so it's almost perfect in the way what it should do and what the client was asking me to do for him. So that yeah, maybe the little Phatty or
I
the
have a
follow-up
question.
products, and they're all the same
I got a
built.
question about um, the Arturia MatrixBrute. You know, you
Hmm.
said you worked on the MatrixBrute, and you know the thing is, a lot
Right.
of people really like the idea of the MatrixBrute, but nobody really knows yet exactly how it sounds or what the character is. But then you have people that compare
Hmm.
it to the Voyager as being like the behemoth synth that you know that
Hmm.
centerpiece of somebody's lab and stuff like that. But what do you think the character is? Maybe in comparison, I would think that just because of that voice, it's a little more harsh than a little more rugged sounding than maybe the Voyager,
Hmm.
whereas the Voyager can be really smooth and lush and warm.
Hmm.
What do you think the
I
character is on
must confess, Corey, I cannot tell you because
that?
wasn't able to listen to the sound engine so much up to now. The core thing with the Matrix Brute is the Matrix. I think this is something novel, the big matrix field that you have on the instrument.
Hmm.
I know they're having the Steiner Parker filter in there, and they have a remodeled Moog filter in there, a ladder filter, but I don't have a clue how close it can come to the Voyager. I think they're different piece of cake. I had a
Okay.
lot of work to make it not look exactly like the Voyager because when they came up with the idea, they had built a prototype that was so close to the Voyager that I said, you cannot do that. You have to talk your own language. It's not good to make it look exactly like a Voyager. So it was a big part of my work to make it look like an Arturia instrument. It instantly looked like a Voyager because of its
The chipset
size and
and
the
everything.
panel and everything. So that's you cannot avoid that. But from anything else, from the way the wood is made up and the color scheme, the knobs, but everything's different, you know. So, but I understand your question, sure.
Okay.
I cannot tell you anything about the sound. You may go and check it out once it's on the market and find out by yourself. I think it's very flexible.
Hmm. That's what
Yeah.
I did play it when I was at NAM, and
Hmm.
from there were no presets yet. So, you know, from what I
Right.
made, I could see that, you know, it is, you know, very much an Arturia instrument. It sounds like a brute, but yeah, it has a lot of modulation and stuff. So that's what's special about it.
Yeah.
And jumping back
Yeah.
to the little Phatty, um, you helped design the little Phatty, or you designed a little Phatty. What was your
Right.
thought of like the slim Phatty when they kind of pared it down to a module type of thing?
Hmm. Well, that was something that came, I don't know, 2 or 3 years after we designed the little Phatty.
Hmm.
Um, it was, again, it should be a lower budget synthesizer with the same engine. And that was the big request. So we changed the push button scheme. Everything's changed a little bit in this direction. That Moog wanted to go away from the rubber push buttons because they were not so easy to handle, the mats. So, and as far as my knowing is, the sound engine is exactly the same. So it should be the same synthesizer, just in a smaller package. And you could cascade them, which was really nice. So you could build your own polyphonic out of those.
I see.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I liked about it. I actually, to tell you the truth, I think the Slim Phatty
Hmm.
was my first analog instrument. So that is what's
Okay.
special about it in my mind, is that, you know, it seemed to be kind of that barrier breaker that like you
Hmm.
have somebody like me that's like producing and kind of expanding my production and expanding my equipment, and then I can say, oh, I don't have to get something that emulates like the Moog sound. I can get
Hmm.
this piece and it can sit next to say my groove box, my MPC, and that gave me like
Right.
a palette, kind of informed a new way of creating. Very
Hmm.
special to me specifically.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it sounds it has the sound, and I think all of the Moog instruments they take care of that it has the ballsiness and the directness, and uh,
Mhm.
that's something they can really uh, they they really know how to do that.
What uh what instruments do you keep in your own setup for your own personal enjoyment?
Well, I'm having a Zarenburg sitting here in my living room with Moog's with a Sub 37 on top. I can show you if you want.
Sure, yeah.
It's
We get to appear in the lifestyle of a king.
yeah. Well, it's sitting right here. This is
That's gorgeous.
yeah. So this is what I'm enjoying at home,
That's a
and
very
when I'm playing with my band. Hmm?
I said that's a very Chick Corea like setup.
Yeah. And when I'm playing with my band, which I have a little disco band, I'm using Nord. I like their instruments a lot, though I never had the chance to work for Hans, but maybe one day I will. Um, I like the instruments because they sound well, they are easy to operate, and they're lightweight, and they're very reliable. So this is why I have, when I play with my band, I'm using a Nord Stage 2 and a Nord Wave.
So I'm getting a question on my phone right now from a good friend of mine, DJ Mike Huckabee, and he is pleading with me for you to tell us how much the 20 is going to cost and when he can get his hands on one.
That's very nice. So it looks like the 20 will be 20.
Okay, 20 grand
I think so, yeah.
US
I
dollars?
think this is the direction we're leading into if we calculate all the time that we put in there, and if we see how much the instrument will cost us to build at all. So this will be the ballpark.
Well, that's keeping all the numbers in mind, so
Yes, yes,
Definitely thematic, yeah.
yeah.
the other thing I wanted to ask you about is the other products that you design that are not synthesizers.
Mhm.
Your company, I showed a bunch of pictures earlier while you were talking
Mhm, I've seen
of
that,
a lot
yeah.
of the other products. Do the musical instruments influence the way that you design other products?
Well, actually, our company is kind of split off. My partner and good friend Stefan Leitl, he's he's the guy. We studied together design, and we did a lot of projects at high school together at an university. And he's like running everything else outside the music business. So the music design is not influencing the design of those projects, but the experience that we get together, all together out of the different projects, that might influence the way we set up a design. Because we did so many designs in the music industries, and we could get a lot of experience out of that we also use then in the other parts, and vice versa.
Mm, absolutely. Well, listen, I want to thank you for your time and coming on the show and kind of telling us a little bit
Yeah.
about what you do. And I think everybody in the synth community would thank you if they met you because all of your designs are extremely usable and just gorgeous, to be honest with you. Like out of all the synths that I have, the Hartman stuff is the stuff that I really enjoy playing.
Okay, that's very nice. Thanks so much. That's very nice. But like I told you, it's always the cooperation with the company and with the company leaders, especially Arturia. They have good people there. Moog have great people. All the companies, they're nice people, and it's easy to work together with them and to come to a vibe that helps to come up with products that are good and that help the musicians. So
Absolutely.
it's
I
not
hope to
only.
have Glenn Darcy on the show soon as well. And
Oh yeah, you
I
say hi
mean,
to Glenn. Yeah,
all the guys over there. I mean, they seem to be really nice people. So it's nice to
absolutely.
see
Yeah,
good people getting great products out. You know.
absolutely. That's totally true, and this is the reason why I'm stuck with these industries. It's I think the nicest people around. No matter what age, everybody's respecting the other. No matter what color, it's really nice. It's good people all around, and it's good to be part of that, and it's great to be part of this how you say conversation because you're so young people. I'm an old chap when compared to you, but it's so great that you enjoy using these instruments that I had the chance to work on and that you like them. So it looks like music is a good language and it's something that lasts over many, how do you say, for many years and for many generations
Yeah,
if you do the
absolutely.
right
It's
stuff.
definitely something that's gonna kind of be here for a long period of time. So
Yeah, and it's actually really
Excellent.
impressive what you did so far because when I look around here in the studio, I would say at least 50% of my gear is designed by you. So.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. That's good to know. Well, I can see, like I told you, some babies sitting there in the corner
Yes,
where
and
I've been
the
working on. Yeah.
sub-system is right in front of me. I got the MatrixBrute on the left side, so KRK
Yeah.
speakers. So.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. Very good. Yeah.
listen, before I close
A
out, I'm
lot
just
of
gonna
babies.
I'll say thank you to Corey of B-Boy Tech Report for coming on the show, and everybody check out
Anytime, man.
beatpeople.com. I know you've got another episode of your show coming up. What, next week?
Yeah, actually Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific. Um, yeah, it should be good. We'll have a regular game and a special guest as well.
Excellent. So many thanks. I say good night.
Yep. Have a great night.
And,
And
yes.
back to your clubbing.
Yay. Go back to my clubbing. That's excellent.
And
Good to
See
meet
you.
Mike, I'll say
Yes,
thank
good to
you.
meet you too. Yes. Bye.
Yep. Bye now. So Mike, I wanna thank you for coming on as well. We had to kind of cut it a little bit short just because we had a little bit of a issue with feedback, but
Yeah.
no, it's really great seeing and we are still alive, just so you know. It's really great seeing the way that he kind of designs these things because I mean, really, if you look at all the different designs he's done, like you said, it's like 50% of your studio, probably about that of in mine as well. Is
Easily.
designed by that guy. I mean, that's like you don't get much more legendary in synth design than that. As far as user interface is concerned, that's for sure.
Yep, that's true.
So, is there
Yeah,
any?
what's cool is that he has a way of designing things, like you said, that keeps the kind of the aesthetic of the brand there without stepping on the toes of something else. Like I don't know how many of us can say that we would be able to do that. I mean, with anything. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
you think about any producer, no matter who they work with, most great producers, you kind of see their thing. They're more almost like sometimes it even works against the situation where a producer can produce, say, 50 acts, and then you'll know all of those acts were produced by X, right?
Sure.
Even though the act should have their personality shining through. I think it's probably a huge feat for somebody
It's a
like him to
hallmark
be
of
able.
somebody like a DJ Premier. Like when you hear a Premier
Yeah,
act, it's like, well, you know that Premier's had his hands on it, but they all had their own vibes. Like
yeah,
from like a group home to like his, even his R&B projects, you could still tell that
yep.
he had his hands in there, even though it's a totally different
That
vibe.
artist.
Yeah,
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 right.
and
and you can look on his site, Design Box. So it's design hashtag or not hashtag. What is that? Hyphen box.de. Design hyphen box.de, and you can see a lot of their designs up on there, and really how things flow together and everything. They have that kind of minimalistic design, and everything's very sleek. Um,
Hmm.
you
yeah.
can really.
Now, Again, I can tell you, talking from a design point of view, I think he really creates that brand, or how the brand looks
Identity.
for a lot of the
Hmm.
companies. Because when you look at the older Moog stuff before he started designing, it's like every instrument looked kind of different. There was not
Hmm.
like a concept, but that's what makes a good designer. When he says, "Okay, I want to work with you in the future," then he really starts to create a brand image for these. So now when you look on stage and you see a sub Phatty, a little Phatty, a sub 37, you know exactly, wow, this is a Moog. And same thing with the Waldorf synthesizers. If it's the Rocket or the Strike Fat, they come in the same housing and have the same appeal. And also Blofeld and Pulse too. It's just, it's one brand,
Yeah,
Yep.
they have an
and
identity. So,
that what makes a good product designer, or a good designer in general. That he focuses on the strengths of the company and transports it to the design, and makes it remarkable.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I'll tell you, like the Sub Phatty is like one of my favorite synthesizers, just on layout basis alone, just because it's so well thought out, so well laid out that it's just extremely easy to create what you want to create on it. You don't have, you're not looking for things, you're not searching for anything. It's just you can just work on it. And I absolutely love that about it.
That's true. That's actually, I think that's a huge thing, right? So if it's well designed, like he was saying, you almost don't need the manual or anything. Like I don't have a sub 37, but the times that I've put my hands on one, I felt like I knew exactly what was going on, exactly what I wanted to reach for. It's all right there. I didn't feel, I'm sure it's obviously much deeper than whatever I twiddled with during that moment. In California, there's so much traffic. In LA, I'll duck out of traffic and go to a guitar center and just kind of play with a synth for an hour until traffic dies down. A lot of times when I put my hands on certain things, you can tell the things that are really intuitive because that's what I'll be on for a while. And Sub 37 is definitely one of those instruments. The Sub
Yep.
Phatty too. Actually, Sub Phatty is really intuitive, really. So yeah, he has a
Absolutely.
definite good design aesthetic to what he does.
So, Mike, before we close out the show, do you have anything that you want to promote?
Not this week. Maybe next time.
Blasphemy.
No.
Well, I'll just give my little promotions in. I've got 4 new products coming out in the next month. So I've been working really hard, and I'm doing all
Oh,
these shows and everything. But trust me, I'm also working as well. So I do have a bunch of new drum sounds that are coming. I've got a sound pack coming out for the Ultra Nova, which it was kind of like a lot of my personal patches that I had, and then I decided I would clean it up and do 50 presets and release them. So I'm gonna release them for a very, very low price, just kind of as like a, hey, these are some presets that I've been using personally. So um, and yeah, we got a lot more coming up. Um, we'll have some really interesting guests coming on this show and also on the Synth Summit show, and also on Beat People.
yeah.
So lots of content for music nerds to really enjoy, and that's kind of the plan, is just to keep everybody happy. And if you're on your daily commute or something, you can put this stuff on the podcast. I promise that I will work hard to get audio versions of all of these podcasts up onto iTunes and Stitcher app. It takes a lot of time, and like I said, I've been working on a lot of other projects lately, so I haven't really had time to extract the audio files and upload them to the hosting software for that
You
stuff.
need an intern.
I do. I absolutely. I pay in half-eaten cheeseburgers and sips of
And
bourbon.
Scrapple.
So yeah, and Scrapple. Yeah, yeah, Delaware. What's up? So, um, I listen. I'm out there to tell people, if you have not had Scrapple, don't look up what's in it. Just eat it. Okay?
That is the worst advice ever. Don't bother with what's in this. Just chew.
Just eat it. It's so good. Oh man. So yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming on the show, and yeah, we'll be back at it again, probably like early next month or so. and we'll have some special guests on then too. So, peace.
Peace.
Oh.